Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Bleeding Crypto's 15-minute market update. Today is Thursday, July 25th, 7:24 a.m. local time. I hope you're having a good day, morning, or afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. Let me start off by protecting myself legally. I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. I am wrong 99.9% of the time. So if you use real money and you follow me, you have a 99.9% chance of losing it all. This is just for entertainment purposes only. This is fantasy paper trading. All right, guys. Now that I'm protected legally, let's go ahead and take a look at Bitcoin. I'm going to go ahead and continue this chart. We have two charts we're working with. We have this one here, and we have this one here. So we're going to touch into the detailed one. But this is the simple chart that I drew a few days ago, just to illustrate how important it is to not get ahead of ourselves and how important it is to stay within a range that we are, how to identify where we're at, being in a range, and then what are the things that we look for when we leave a range. And once again, I'm going to repeat myself. I depend on backtest. That is the backbone of my system and how I trade. And I've been showing you this in detail, why that is. You may not agree with it, and that's okay. You don't have to, but at least give me a chance to explain to you how powerful a backtest theory is and what it can do for you and what it can signal and how you can position yourself for it. So day before yesterday, we put in these arrows here showing you that when we lost the support of the channel, how we backtested. I talked about this yesterday. We were here for 15 hours. Then we did one of these moves. Now, yesterday in the show, we were here. We were here, and we had already hit the middle of this here. And I said, okay, well, all we did is just hit the bottom here. We can either climb or we're going to go below it. And I told you that this here wasn't a really clean back test. Look what happened a few hours later after I posted the show. We hit it perfectly. Not around it, right on it. Just the way we back tested, right on it. This is the type of thing that I look for to help me position myself. Now, what we did here, obviously we bounced again, but look what we did. We put a high, we put a low, we put a lower high, we broke below it. Look at what it did. Do you understand the significance of this? You understand that this now starts to shift the probability that we're going to go lower. So when you start seeing things like this, you start seeing rejections on key points, you start seeing losing key support, back testing it, on that follow through, it allows you to get in front of that trade. It allows you to say, okay, things we're not getting back into that channel. We might have found a direction. I told you guys when I posted this chart that once we leave this area, I don't know if it's going to be to the upside or to the downside, then we know how to trade that setup. Setup is to the downside. Look how beautifully we came, we back tested again on the third, we dropped, and look at where we're at now. Now that we've done this and we've left this range, we don't really need to focus on this range as much. However, because of the market structure that we're putting in, because of the signature move that we just put in here, it's a term that I coined on my Discord. It's a certain pattern that I see. I call it signature move because it's a move that I see that market makers make quite oftenly. So I was going to discard this chart for now, but I'm not going to because I think it's going to be still helpful. And based on this simple chart, I'm going to do a drawing here, and then we're going to go to our detailed chart to get more in depth because I do believe we have a deeper drop. However, things don't just drop out of the sky until it hits our target where we want to. There's a series of checks and balances that we have to do. There's $12 billion in short liquidations that the market makers have to go and clean up. There's a lot of things in the market structure wise that we typically, not always, but we typically respect. So to make it real simple on this here, I'm going to go to the 4-hour time frame just to clean up the PA just a little bit. And I'm going to put on my fib, and I'm going to put on my fib on this low here. Actually, on this low here. This low is where we stopped. We try to break it. We swing failure, signature move. But this is the true, in the way I view the market and the way I put my fibs, I do it there. Okay, so now we're going to change this into here. Actually, I'm gonna do this here just real quick because I believe this is going to be a very important range here. and I want to draw it out so you guys can understand. Oh, I don't know why they did that. You guys can understand what I'm looking for. And I'm gonna right here, right here. Okay, so. Oh wow, it lines up to the bottom of the channel. That's crazy. All right. Sorry guys, I'm just talking to myself. I do that a lot. I talk to myself a lot. But I'm going to do this here, and I'll explain to you in just a minute why I'm doing this. Okay, see this range here? This is the range that I believe that we're going to go up. We're going to go up into maybe today, maybe tomorrow. There's no real time frame. Nonetheless, I do believe we're going to hit this range here to put our next lower high. Perfect world, it'd be right here. It matches with the 706 fib. My favorite fib is 0.706 because that's where we typically pivot, whether it's to the upside or to the downside. When we hit 706, the market likes to bounce from there. Don't know why, but it happens more often than not. And the fact that you see me use my fibs every single day, I am people will consider myself a fib trader because I rely on those fibs for confirmations and for the setups. And 9 out of 10 times we pivot on 706, but I don't know. I like the confluence that it has with the bottom of the channel, so that strengthens my resolve that 706 may be a good area where we're going to stop. It could go higher. It could blow it out, and that's fine. That invalidates my theory, and we're gonna turn around. But for right now, I've got to continue the checks and balances that I do for the type of trade that we are in. Right now, we're in a downtrend. So I'm trading it to the downside, but I understand there's going to be a bounce because nothing goes up, nothing goes down short of a black swan. Nothing just crashes down the way you think it's going to go down. So for my next trade setup, right now, my team and I, we're playing the bounce. We're playing the bounce to go into this area here. Once we go into this area here, we then exit the bounce, scalp, and we start positioning ourselves for the downtrend. Now, there's two ways you can play this. You can leave your long open and open the short hedge and wait for confirmation that it's breaking down before you exit. Either way, you won't lose anything. So whatever you are, the moment you open a hedge trade with the same amount and the same leverage, you have now secured these profits. You cannot lose. Even if this were to go all the way back to your entry, you never lost those profits as long as you have the same amount dollar-wise and hedge-wise. X factor, if you had a 10x, a 5x, whatever that X factor is, you cannot lose. All right, so here is where I believe we're going to find rejection. Somewhere either here, inside the shaded area, or at the top here. Could it have a deviation? Yeah, it could. But this is how I'm playing it. This is where I start building my short positions inside of this box. I wish I was smart enough to know the Pico top. I'm not. I wish I was smart enough to know the Pico bottom. I'm not. So I like to scale in just to protect myself because I'm not that smart. So I just figure, okay, well, let me start scaling at a reasonable reasonable amount, and that's how I do it. And I average in and then I average out. So with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and start building my short positions here. And then once I feel like my theory was correct, it's validated, I get out. I get out of my long and I look for the next long setup to the downside. Now, let's go ahead and look a little bit more detail because we were also working on this chart and we invalidated an idea that I had yesterday. One of the ideas that I had yesterday was if we're not going to drop the way I believe we're going to drop and close the objectives to the downside, and we're indeed much more bullish than I anticipate, then I would like to see this get respected. This reload zone here get respected. As you can see, we close below it, so we invalidate it. And this here was in the event that we do hold this and we bounce, the first thing I'm looking for is a lower high until proven otherwise, because we are in a double top in the lower time frames. We have a double top situation at the top of the channel, which has caused a downfall every single time we've hit this area on this channel here. Rejection, 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 rejection. I'm not going to think, oh, this time is different. We're going to 100,000. Just like I don't think, oh my God, we're going to 40,000 every time we hit the $50,000 range. I am not that type of trader. I trade based on facts, based on data, based on market structure, based on what the TA is telling me for that particular moment. And understanding that things can shift at any moment as well. So based on that, we were invalidated on this theory. Let me go to the 4-hour time frame. I'm sure a little bit better. Here we go. 4-hour time frame. So what I do now is, okay, that gets invalidated. We close that. That gets invalidated obviously as well. So what now? Well, if you go back to my videos, I said if we don't bounce off this intraday trading, then we're going to zoom out to the macro view. And I plotted this out as well. So it's already there. So I don't have to do anything to it. This will be the macro retracement if we were not going to bounce and start going higher, because this was the box that we were looking at. And look, we did enter that box. We didn't go to the very top. We did stop at the very bottom until we peaked in, but this box is no longer valid. So I'm erasing that as well. All right. This harmonic pattern is no longer valid. So I'm going to get rid of that just to clean up our chart. Okay. Now to the downside, what was I telling you guys? If you don't remember what I was telling you guys, again, good idea to go back to the videos, the previous videos, fact check me. Don't take my word. Listen to what I said before and see if it's indeed the truth. Did I change the truth? Did I change? Am I lying right now? You don't know that. You don't know me. Go back and listen. We had this in our chart. I told you high probability we were going to backtest the 7 EMA on the weekly time frame. And as a matter of fact, I gave you this example here. Let me show you what I did so you guys can go back and see if did BC's never said that? Well, we'll go back and listen. I told you guys you can go back 14 years back and tell me when we've left the 7 EMA and we haven't backtested it. Exactly, we cut through the 21 and the 7. We were going to go back here with a 99.9% probability. And that's exactly what we did. And that's why I had it on my chart. Time to go back to the daily. Now, does that mean that, okay, you hit it, BC, let's go up. Let's go to $100,000. No, not yet. Not yet. What I now need to know is I need to form a base. I need to form a base on the lower time frames to start to indicate to me that a bottom is being formed. And there is no base right now. Right now, my probability is we're going to go further down after we get this bounce that I just illustrated to you guys. After this bounce, I believe that we're going to go start hitting some of the objectives. Now, does that mean we're going to go straight to those objectives? Nope. It does not mean that at all. What it does indicate to me, there's going to be other areas, knowing that the TA respects certain areas that I plotted out, and I don't. The market doesn't follow what I plot out. I follow the market based on history, on what the market does, to allow me to then plot out a plan. And based on history, once we have our bounce, our next stop is going to be right in here. It's going to be right on the medium line of the diagonal channel that coincides with a high block heat cluster, a very high block cluster, great confluence in this area there. Now, why this dotted line? Well, let's see. Again, don't take my word for it. Let me hide some indicators to clean up the chart. Let's see. Strong support, strong resistance, strong support, strong support, strong resistance, strong support, strong resistance, strong support. Do you see where I'm getting at, guys? This stuff is not that hard. It really isn't. If you remove your emotions, this stuff, all the answers, it's like cheating on a test. It's like looking at the guy, the guy next to you who's a lot smarter than you are. In my case, it was always the Asians. Asians and Indians are like fucking brainiacs. They're the smartest people on this earth, and that's why I used to copy off. It's always the Indian guy and the Asian guy, and that's what I do. I look back because I don't know the answers. I'm like, let me copy people who are smarter than me. Oh, okay, here it is. All right, that's my next area for a bounce. So what I'm looking for now is this line here to have. Can I find confluence with this line? I've got the high block heat, great. I've got history showing that this is going to be strong support, great. Could there be something else? Well, you know what? This here is all well and dandy, but normally my rules are I'm not allowed to use this until a continuation rule gets invalidated. What does that mean? That means that before I can put that there, I'm not allowed to put that there. I did it there. I cheated a little bit. I'm supposed to do this. Can we bounce off the continuation rule for a higher low on the macro view, a higher low for a higher high? That's the proper way of looking at a bounce. That's how I do it on the lower time frame. So if it works on the lower time frames, it's going to work on a higher time frame as well. I'm going to look here. If this invalidates, then I'm allowed to do that. So if I stick to my rules, what's the confluence here? I've got the continuation rule, I've got the dotted line, and I've got the high block data. Now, I told you guys that I'm looking for a bounce between 65, 473, and 66. So let's take the medium. Let's split it in half. 65, 800. 65, 800. 65, 800. Give me 1 second. 65, 800. This will make sense in just a moment. 65, 800. That's right here. Just real quick. I'm going to put this line just temporary on there. Now, I like using harmonic patterns. Harmonic patterns tend to play out quite often than not. So based on that medium line, giving me a little bit of a margin, guys, a little give and take. Don't hold me to the penny. All right. Let's see if a harmonic pattern can give us confluence. Swing high, swing low. Here's where I believe our bounce is happening at the moment. And if it follows through and we get within that middle box, can I find confluence with this area? In this case, I don't have confluence with this here. It's a little bit lower, but look at this. I can't make this shit up, guys. I'm doing it live. I mean, I'm doing it in a series where you can go back and you can see if I'm full of shit. Look at this perfect harmonic. Look at the bottom of the channel. Do you think that is a coincidence? Now remember, the bottom of this channel is this here. If I remove the diagonal, remember that in the daily time frame, we have this. We have this channel. And here's the medium line where we found resistance, where we pivoted and caused this downtrend. Why? Because we talked about that. Resistance, support, resistance. Support, resistance, 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 on and so forth and so on. Do you see how everything is measured? It doesn't happen by accident. That's what I'm trying to express to you guys, that this stuff here, if you know what to look for, it becomes much easier. It's not easy, but easier to come up with a plan. And that's all you can ask as a trader, is to come up with a plan. Excuse me, I'm just trying to go back to get to get that. And that's why I tell you guys about, if you want to learn how to do this, how to learn my system, doesn't mean it's the right one, but if you enjoy or you can relate to my system, that's what my premium Discord is all about. I sit there 7 days a week teaching you this, going over the same thing. We have a media. As soon as I wake up in the morning, I get my cup of coffee and we have a video update on the market. They usually last about an hour or so, and you get to understand how this works. Are you going to get it in one month? No, you're not. You're not. But through time, putting in the work, listening to it repetitively, exercising that muscle memory, you're going to be able to understand this. And if you say, BC, I just don't have the time to do that, no problem. I'll tell you where to put your short at. I'll tell you on my Telegram for $25 a month. For $6, for 83 cents a day, I'll tell you, okay, this is where you want to start building your short. From here to here is going to build your short. And then here's where you're going to take your profit, and here's where you're going to open your next long position. And you're going to exit the long position that I called out earlier today. You're going to exit that, and you're going to then flip that, or we're going to hedge it. If you feel comfortable hedging it, we're going to hedge it, and I'll walk you through the hedge. So you don't have to worry. You don't have to, oh my God, I've never done this before. It's okay. I'll walk you how to hedge the position. I'll tell you when to exit and when to flip, or whatever you need to do. Just follow my instructions. Just click on here, enter this amount, and click here for $25 a month. All right. So right here, guys, as you can see, I don't have the confluence on the harmonic pattern to this. I don't think this is as clean. But I love the fact that I found confluence here. So that tells me that when we stop here, there's a good chance that we may pause because of the reaction that we get in here, but we may go down to here. Now, is there any confluence here if we invalidate the lower high? Which, to invalidate this, just to be clear, a wick doesn't invalidate it. A candle close invalidates it. So until that happens, I'm not allowed to do this. I'm not allowed to do this. However, I do believe that we're going lower than here, but that doesn't mean anything. The market has to show it to me. The market has to invalidate that it's going to lose the support here. We had support here. The market lost it, It back tested it, and we went down, and it validated that loss. It regained it. It regained it. Hold on, let me move this here. It regained it. It back tested it, and then it went. And to see further evidence of this back test and confirmation, you can go to the lower time frames, go to the hour time frames, and you see it much, much cleaner. Yeah, right here. Look at the regain. Look at the back test. Look at the back test. Look at this back. You lose it. Look at that. Back test to loss, regains it, stays above it. This is the validation that I'm talking about. This is how you view the market. Look at here. Nice upthrust candle, comes back and validates it. 1, 2, 3, and up we go. These are the things that you need to pay attention to. All right, guys, I'm way above 5 minutes over my time, so I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. For today, simple. We're going to stay with this chart. Up into this area here is what I'm looking for before the next lower low. Is it going to happen immediately? No. Give it time. Allow the market to do what it's got to do. There are $12 billion in liquidations. What is it? $12.44 billion. So if the market goes up, guess what the market makers get to do? They get to wipe out $12 billion in contracts. So do you think the market maker is here to make you money? If you think that, great, do it. I like to follow the money. The money right now is telling me we're going up. The market structure, the behavior of the market by looking left is telling me a bounce should be coming. $25 a month, guys. Give me a try. See what you think. What do you got to lose? $25. All right, guys. Everyone, have a really good day. Send me a DM if you're interested in my Discord, or if you're interested in my Telegram, just send me a DM on Twitter. Do not answer any DMs directly for me, because they're not for me. They're from scammers. I do not reach out to you. If you want me, you reach out to me. This way you know it's me by going to my page and then DMing me directly. All right, guys, have a really good day, and I'll talk to you guys later.